urban livelihoods. So this is an illustration. What do you see in this figure? We have seen about the work that people do in rural areas. Now let us compare the work people do here, means what they are doing in the places which are called urban, means more populated, they have more settlements, and some part of the city are different from others, and there are certain parts which are more, they may be having more buildings, more facilities, some may be deprived of it, some may be quite clean, some may not be, somewhere people would do some other work, somewhere they may do some other job for livelihood. So there are more than 5,000 towns, more than 5,000 towns and 26 big cities in India, like Chennai, Mumbai, Delhi, Kolkata. These are big cities. They have more than 1 million people living and working there. So they say that the city never sleeps. So let's go on visit one and find out how the work people do in this city. Are they employed by someone, or they are doing their own work, that is self-employed? How do they organize themselves? And do they have similar employment and earning opportunities, every one of them? So just have a look at this illustration. Picture people are doing some or the other work. Now working on the street. So this is the city we are talking about. We are trying to, have a glimpse or moving around, walking around one of these cities. So this is the city where my cousin lives. In terms of story, we will be talking about. I have been here only a few times. It is very big. Once when I came here, my cousin took me around. We left the house early in the morning and we turned the corner onto the main street. We saw that it was already buzzing with activity. The vegetable vendor was busy arranging tomatoes, carrots and cucumbers in baskets at her stall, so that people could see what she has or what she had to offer to sell. Next to her stall was a lovely, colorful one that sold all kinds of flowers. Now we bought a red rose and a yellow rose. On the pavement opposite, we saw a person who was selling newspapers with small crowd of people around him. Everyone wanted to read the news. Buses whizzed past and there were auto rickshaws filled with school children. And nearby, under a tree, a cobbler sat, taking his tools and materials out of a small tin box. Next to him, the roadside barber had begun his work. He already had a customer who wanted an early morning shave. A little way down the road, a woman was pushing along a cart with all kinds of plastic bottles, boxes, hairpins, clips, etc. In it, while another person on a cycle trolley was carrying vegetables to sell to people in their houses. So we came to a place where rickshaw were standing in a row waiting for customers. So we decided to take one to the market, which was about 2 kilometers down the road. So before we go ahead, we will try to investigate or talk about a cycle rickshaw puller, Bachchu Manjhi. Now, Bachchu Manjhi, the story is, I come from a village in Bihar where I worked as a mason. My wife and 3 children live in the village. We don't own land. In the village, I did not get masonry and work regularly. The income that I earned was not sufficient for our family. After I reached the city, I bought an old cycle rickshaw and paid for it in installments. This was many years ago. I come to the bus stop every morning and take the customers wherever they want to go. I work till 8:30 in the evening. I take rides of up to 6 kilometers in the surrounding area, and each customer gives me rupees 5 or 10 per trip depending on the distance. So when I'm ill, I can't do this work. So on these days, I don't earn anything. I stay with my friends in a rented room. They work in a nearby factory, earn between around 80 to 100 every day rupees. out of which I spend 50 to 60 on food and rent. So the rest I save for my family. I visit my village 2 or 3 times a year to see my family. Though my family survives on the money I send, my wife also earns from agriculture work that she gets once in a while. This is the story of Bachchu Manjhi, a cycle rickshaw puller. So like Bachchu Manjhi, a large number of people in the city work in the streets. In a survey of Ahmedabad city, it was found that 12% of all the workers in the city were people working on the street. So they sometimes sell things or repair them or provide a service. So they work on their own, they are not employed by anyone and therefore have to organize their own work. They have to plan how much to purchase as well as where and how to set up their shops. The shops are usually temporary structures, sometimes just some boards or papers spread over discarded boxes, or maybe a canvas sheet hung up on a few poles. They may also use their own carts or simply a plastic sheet spread on the pavement. They can be asked to dismantle their shops at any time by the police, so they have no security. There are certain parts of the city where these hawkers are not allowed to enter. So vendors sell things that are often prepared at homes by their families who purchase, clean, sort and make them ready to sell. For instance, those who sell food or snacks on the street prepare most of these at home. So this is a picture. Often the workers who make a living in the city, they are forced to set up their homes on the street as well. So here is a space where several workers leave their belongings during the day and cook their meals at night. There are almost 1 crore street vendors in the country working in urban areas. So street vending was till recently looked upon only as an obstruction to traffic and to police people walking. However, with the effort of many organizations, it is now recognized as a general benefit, as a right of people to earn their livelihood. The government is thinking about modifying the law that bans street vendors so that they have a place to work and that there is also a free flow of traffic and police. Hawking zones have been suggested for towns and cities. It has also been suggested that mobile vendors should be allowed to move around freely. So hawkers need to be part of committees that are set up to take these and other decisions relating to these hawkers, men or women. So in the market, we are actually going around the city. So this is a kind of story we are talking and you learn through the story. So when we reached the market, the shops were just beginning to open, but the place was already crowded because of festival season. There were rows and rows of shops selling sweets, toys, clothes, footwear, utensils, electronic goods, etc. And there was a dentist clinic also at the end. So my cousin had an appointment with the dentist. So we went there first so that we would not miss our turn. We had to wait for a while in a room before she was called inside. So the dentist examined her and asked her to come back the following day to get a cavity in her tooth filled. My cousin was scared because she thought the process would be painful and was upset that she had allowed her teeth to go bad. Now, from the dental clinic, she took me to a new garment showroom because I wanted to buy some ready-made clothes. The showroom had 3 floors. Each floor had different type of clothes, and we went to the 3rd floor where clothes for girls were kept. So let us talk about Harpreet and Vandana. These are business persons. So my father and uncle worked in a small shop. During festival times and on Sundays, my mother and I helped them in the shop. I started working there only after I completed my college, and he is called Harpreet. We opened this showroom some years ago. I am a dress designer. Our business has changed. These days people prefer to buy ready-made clothes rather than having them stitched. So the trend these days is for ready-made garments. So you also need an attractive display for them. So this is Vandana's observation, or you can say his submission, her submission, sorry. So for our showroom, we buy things from different places, and we buy most of the materials from Mumbai, Ahmedabad, Ludhiana and Tripura. So some materials also come from Noida and Gurgaon, towns which are near Delhi. So we get some dress items from foreign countries too. So there are several things we need to do to run this showroom properly. We advertise in various newspapers, cinema theaters, television and radio channels. And currently this building is rented, but soon we plan to buy it. Ever since this market has become the main market for people living in the surrounding apartments, our business have grown. We have been able to we buy a car and book a flat in the apartment complex nearby. So like this Harpreet and Vandana, there are many people who own shops in various markets in the city. And these shops may be large, small, or they sell different things. So most business persons manage their own shop or business. They're not employed by anyone, but they do employ a number of other workers as supervisors and helpers. So these are permanent shops that are given a license to do the business by the municipal corporation, the Nagar Nigam. The municipal corporation also decides on which day of the week the market has to remain closed. For example, the shops in the above market are closed on Wednesdays. On Wednesdays, this market also has small offices and shops that provide services like banks, courier services, others. Now let us see about the factory, that is the workshop area. So we are going around the city. So I wanted to have a zari work done on one of my dresses, which I needed for a special occasion. My cousin said that she knew Nirmala, who works in a garment factory. Nirmala's neighbor do zari work and embroidery. So we caught a bus and headed towards the factory area. The bus was really crowded. At every stop, more and more people got on and hardly anyone seemed to get off. People were pushing others to make some space for themselves. My cousin guided me to a corner so that we wouldn't get squashed. I wondered how people travel like this every day. And as the bus entered the factory area, people started getting off. We also got off soon at a crossing. What a relief that was. And there were a large number of people sitting on railings or in groups at the crossing. They seemed to be waiting for someone. Some groups had people on scooters standing by and talking with them. My cousin explained that these places was called labor chowk. These were daily wage laborers who work as helpers to masons. They dig at the construction sites, they lift loads, or they may unload the trucks in the market. So this is a picture, or you can say a labor chowk. The daily wage worker wait with their tools for people to come and take them for work. So they may dig pipelines and telephone cables, and also there are thousands of such casual workers in the city building roads, telephone cables, digging pipelines, etc. So we entered this factory area to find it full of small workshops, and there seemed to be endless rows of them. In one section, we saw people working in a small room on sewing machine where cloth was being stitched. One person operated one sewing machine, and clothes that had been stitched were stacked on one side of the room. So we located Nirmala in the stitching unit. She was happy to meet my cousin and promised to get zari work done on my dress. So Nirmala works as a trailer in an export garment unit. The factory where she works makes a summer cloth for people in foreign countries like USA and UK, Germany, Netherlands. Workers like Nirmala have to work very long hours in the month from December to April. The normal working day begins at 10 a.m. and finishes only by 10 p.m., sometimes even later. She works for 6 days a week. At times when the work need to be done urgently, she works on Sundays too. Nirmala is paid rupees 80 a day for 8 hours and rupees 40 extra for working late. So by June the work is over and the factory reduces its staff. Nirmala will also be asked to leave for about 3 or 4 months in a year because there is no work for her. So most workers like Nirmala are employed on what is known as casual basis. That is, casual means they are required to come as and when the employer requires them or needs them. Okay. So they are employed when an employer gets large orders or during certain seasons. At other times of the year, they have to find some other work. So jobs like Nirmala's are not permanent. They may be part-time or casual. So if workers complain about their pay or working condition, they are asked to leave. There is no job security or protection of if there is, some ill treatment. They are also expected to work very long hours. For instance, in the cloth mill unit of the workers work on day and night shifts, with each shift lasting 12 hours. One worker works on one machine for 12 hours and then is replaced by another on the same machine for the next 12 hours. Let us come to the office area. And let me show you one picture. This is a call center. So working in a call center is a new form of employment in big cities. A call center is a centralized office that deals with problems and questions that consumers or customers have regarding goods purchased and services like banking, ticket booking, etc. So call centers are generally set up as large rooms with workstations like this that include a computer, a telephone set, and a supervisor's station. So India has become a major center not only for Indian companies but also for foreign companies. They set up call centers here and they can get people who can speak English and will work for lower wages. So we were talking about now the office area. My aunt Sudha works as a marketing manager. She had asked us to reach her office before 5:30 p.m. We thought we would get late, so we took an auto rickshaw that managed to get us there just in time. Her office was in an area surrounded by tall buildings. There were hundreds of people coming out, some headed for the car park, while others went towards the rows of buses. My aunt is a marketing manager in a company which manufactures biscuits. So the factory where the biscuits are made is outside the city. She supervises the work of 50 salespersons who travel in different parts of the city. So they get orders from shopkeepers and they collect payments from them. So she has divided the city into 6 regions. Once a week, she meets the salespersons for each region. She checks their progress report and discusses problem if they face. She has the plan to sales in the entire city and often has to work late and travel to different places. So she gets a regular salary every month and also a permanent worker with the company. She can expect her job to continue for a longer period of time. Being a permanent worker, she also gets other benefits like saving for old age, holidays, like this. So saving for old age, a part of her salary is kept in a fund with the government. She'll earn interest on these savings, and when she retires from this job, she will get this money and she can then live on that. And she gets holidays. She gets off on Sundays and national holidays. She also gets some days as annual leave. Also, she gets medical facilities for her family. Her company pays the medical expenses up to a certain amount of her and her family members. She gets medical leave if she falls ill, and her salary is not cut if she takes the leave. So there are many workers in the city who work in offices, factories, and government departments where they are employed as regular or permanent workers. They attend the same office or factory regularly, and their work is clearly identified. They get a regular salary, and unlike casual workers, they will not be asked to leave if the factory does not have much work. So at the end of the day, we got into my aunt's car exhausted, but it had been so much fun. And I thought, how interesting that so many people do so many different works or different things in the city. So they have probably never met each other, but it is their work that ties them together and helps to make up the city life, urban life.